Hey everybody, that is Lauren, and my name is Russ. Welcome to the Sunday Vinyl video. This is another one where, other than the fact that I love this album, there ain't nothing special about this. This is not a reissue, it's not a box set, which for this band, for U2, there have been a million reissues of things. There have been some incredible box sets. There's like Achtung Baby, they did like a 2 LP reissue and a 4 LP reissue, and then like a 6 or 7 LP version and stuff. So for a lot of U2 stuff, there's a lot of different special editions out there. Today we are going to be discussing not really just like a review, but just a discussion about a original pressing of Rattle and Hum that we came across. And Rattle and Hum is, for me, is in the discussion with extremely underrated U2 albums.
Sure.
Because it suffers from one of those things where, and you and I have talked about this so much, where the Joshua Tree comes out and it's just enormous, and it's got these at least 3 big singles, probably 4 or 5, depending. You 2 historians are probably gonna know better than me, but at a minimum 3 massive singles, and they just go from, they weren't an indie band, but they go from being a band some people have heard of to everyone
to being everywhere,
yeah, playing stadiums. You know? And Rattle and Hum is in some respects a live album document of that tour.
Sure.
There was a film that went along with it. I don't dislike the film, but I like the album better, if that makes sense. But Rattle and Hum is, in some sense, a document of that tour. It's also a band kind of struggling with their identity, like coming up with new songs, because they go like way out on the reservation, off the reservation for some of the new songs on here. I think in many ways it's kind of a band being like, well, what do we do now?
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely a really interesting time in U2's career, you know? Like, this was before I kind of noticed that, I mean, I wasn't really old enough to care too much at the time, right? So kind of like looking back, I was like, oh, this is really, really interesting.
It's funny when
they turned so many corners.
As soon as you used a complimentary word, I was like, that's not what they called it when it came out. Because when this came out, all of rock critics said, oh, what a self-indulgent move. How dare you?
Well, first of all, like, I can see that. I can see that happening.
I think
at
the
time.
movie's way more self-indulgent than the...
But, you know, I guess for me, I'm kind of like, well, it's U2 though. Like, I guess I come to expect self-indulgence from U2.
Well, years later. Yeah,
But
I guess in hindsight, you look at Rattle and Hum and
then
you're like, well, that's not that bad at all.
Right.
Yeah. And you look at Rattle and Hum in hindsight, and you're like, that's not even close to being self-indulgent.
They're Rattle and Hum. They're barely, you know,
closer.
They're barely making a peep.
Geez, within 10 years, you have Bono doing the Mephisto character in concert and all that. So, anyways, we got to stay on Rattle and Hum. Or I'll just go crazy. But as far as the packaging goes, so the late 80s, I feel, were the heyday for like gatefolds, whether you had a double LP or not. You know, and I felt, at least for me when I was a kid, I felt a lot of people didn't really use their gatefolds well. Like one of my favorite, a huge album to me is Beastie Boys' License to Ill. They're you know, and it's gatefold because the airplane, it looks like you're just seeing the back of an airplane on the front. Then when you fold it out, you see the airplanes crashing into a...
Yeah, that's really cool.
But then when you look at the inside of the thing, it's just a very generic black and white picture of the 3 Beastie Boys in a gatefold. And you're like, could have done more with that, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the room.
So with this, you know, when it came out, I love the cover. Just the black cover with the spotlight, Bono holding the spotlight on edge. Could have done with maybe working Larry and Adam in there somehow, but like I would argue most people, a lot of people probably don't even know Larry and Adam. I'm not saying that's right.
No, one of my like making sure I'm mentally sharp is making sure I could name all 4 members of U2's. Sure. You know, Adam Clayton took me the longest, and I'm really sorry.
I gotta keep that in memory for like if we're ever in like a hospital situation and they're like, you know, trying to ask you like, do you know what year it is? Do you know who the president is? I'll be like, ask her who the 4 members of U2 are.
Can you name U2's bassist?
Right. But I love the art direction on the outside. On the inside, it's kind of like a more or less just lyrics and you know and all that. But it's fine. It's cool. I've always, for whatever reason, I've always loved the art direction on this. And even we're not talking about them here, but the 7-inch singles follow the same thing, like the like a black and white picture with the U2 in the corner and the typing and whatnot. So it's a cool way that era was identified. As far as sound goes, I love the sound on this album. I think I played for you, at a minimum, the live tracks are produced really, really well. I think Angel of Harlem sounds exactly like it's supposed to.
It's my favorite U2 song.
Well, it sounds like it was recorded in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know it was. I've seen the movie. I know how it was recorded, but I feel like, you know, like they could have really screwed that up, especially in the 80s, because other people did that as well. Honey Drippers. I'm looking at you. You know, and then you have stuff like the BB King cut, When Love Comes to Town.
Mm-hmm.
Massive blues sound to that track. Like, you know, and so if anything, there's so many different sounds on this record. I could see people getting like not having the attention span for it. Is that, or maybe it losing people? Is that what I'm?
Yeah, I mean,
Because I mean, it jerks real hard from like live track to studio track to.
Yeah, people who are looking for like a seamless experience, this is not it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Right. This is very much like you were saying, oh, squirrel. Like it's that, and it's fine.
And I feel strongly that if the album is too disjointed for you, you are really not going to like the movie. Because I feel like the movie's more disjointed than the album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Price, we picked this up for I think $25, which is either, we either got it for 20 or 25 at one of the only local record stores that we like here, Tiger Records.
Hello.
I don't know why, but I can never remember that it's Tiger Records for some reason.
Wow.
But yes, Tiger Records here in Jacksonville, Florida. We found a great copy. One thing I love about Tiger Records, and if you're a record store owner of any sort or you sell on Discogs, clearly marking what you're getting on the outside. Like,
Oh yeah, they're really honest.
Like nice copy or like really clean, or like, you know, some issues even they've written on some stuff like and it's funny, they had one, this is for a different video, but we picked up a Badfinger record from them, and I had said to you, I said, you know, check it because clean Badfinger is hard to come by, and you had flipped it over and they had written on their sticker on the back like clean Badfinger, like get in at a low price or whatever, and I was like, see
they know what they're talking about.
but yeah, we got it for $25. I personally, I think that's a steal, because this is another one. We talked about this recently in the George Michael video. Of all the U2 reissues and tomfoolery that's gone on with this album, there's a ton of records that were never even on vinyl that finally got pressed, and there's like ridiculous box sets of other things. Rattle and Hum's just kind of forgotten. Like it's never been reissued. Like it's never been part of a. And I don't know if that could do with. There's like the audio of Hendrix from Woodstock on it. Van Diemen's Land is a I think that's traditional though, so that shouldn't need but then like the Helter Skelter cover, like, you know, this is like Tesla, the 5-man acoustic jam. I told you it's criminal if that's never had a reissue, but I'm with no authority whatsoever. My guess is it's the covers holding that up. So maybe that's the issue with this. So when we talk about value for these things, for me, it's always like, hey, what's the most I would pay for that?
Yep.
For me, I'd pay easily up to $40 or $50 for a copy of this record. And I think prior to me really going like, hey, you got to check out some of the versions on here, I don't think you really ever listened to it.
Not really. No, I'm very much like a super early YouTube person.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my.
Well, like, yeah,
I
and I know this isn't
that.
super early, but earlier. I think the version of Pride in the Name of Love is on Rattle and Hum. Like and I know that's not super early U2, it's like mid-ish U2, but the version of Pride in the Name of Love is on this record. I think the version of I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For is on this record. Like, and maybe you like the choir, maybe you don't. If you have anything you like at all about choirs being added songs, like that's the version in my opinion. So yeah, for 40, I would pay up to $40 or $50. I feel like we kind of got a steal on it at the price that we got it on. That's, you know,
we had a good day that day.
Yeah, we had a real good day that day. And more of those records will be coming to the channel. But we will be more than happy to do discussion videos on that. We have discussion videos every Thursday on the channel, which are more or less just her and I picking music topics that we want to talk about. Saturdays we have reactions, but every Sunday we have some form of vinyl video on the channel. If you have anything that you'd like to see from us regarding vinyl, we will do our best to get to it. If this is your first time with us, please hit the subscribe button. You have 3 videos coming from us every week and a whole ton of videos to already watch on the channel. We'd love it if you hit the like button, but the big thing is the interaction. So if you're here on the channel and you love U2, and you love or hate this record, we'd love to have a discussion with you about it. So please make sure to drop that comment below. And as we always say, thank you so much for watching.